Chili here with Sirius Taurus Moon. This is Moon Hour, and the Moon is 20 degrees Libra in the 8th house with Venus in the 7th, 4 degrees Mercury, 4 degrees Virgo. Mercury is conjuncting Vendia matrix, so I thank Lada Duncheva for that. There was actually a while ago a solar eclipse on the axis of Libra and Aries. I purchased one of her paid videos, and she mentioned these two planets. I'm very glad I purchased that video because the eclipse cycle that we had keeps playing on those themes of Zendaya and Vendia Matrix. So Zendaya is about purging people pleasing, and Vendia Matrix is about being aware of and correcting corruption in business. So I have an energy reading. Oh, look at this 18 degrees. 18 degrees midheaven. And I actually have an energy reading regarding, for many of you ran into that, regarding your ability to make an income or in your working environment, studies environment, career, or public reputation. And let's see. What I'm receiving for the collective is that you are beginning to dissolve something that, whether you're familiar with the term targeted individual or not, looks like it. Other names could be smear campaign, and some of you might even, depending on what level of awareness to that topic you are at, then some of you might only start to realize why were things happening. Some of you only begin to realize that you're somehow smeared or there was targeting, and some of you are way into understanding that there is targeting and the ideologies and so on behind that. But what I'm getting is that you concentrate on replenishing yourself in places where you haven't before. And this is something that begins to seal permeability in your aura or seal susceptibility to being manipulated. And again, of course, nobody is to blame for this happening to them, okay? It's important that actually things done to put people into trauma to then harvest on their energy. People call it lower astral and so on. And it is a part of a very, very dark reality to the level that you wish to understand that. I highly recommend looking at Annika Lucas' testimony, and she really goes into detail about what those things are connected with. And for many of you, you're beginning to dissolve the fog that was artificially created around you. And what I'm getting is that even several years ago, certain people, and without shame and blame, they say hurt people, but these people, instead of pointing the arrows at those that attacked them, or perhaps because they were in tremendous fear, targeted several people. And for you, the collective, you may have gone through a crisis, you may have gone through psychic attacks, you may have gone through having to change a place or whatnot. And now, as you are reconnecting, especially after the solar eclipse, you're reconnecting with not everybody, but you're beginning to look for solutions um, to mundane problems of targeted individuals. Because your legacy, your shine, who you are, your creativity, your voice, what you came to do in the world, yes, is yours. And people that try to take that energy also would find out that, um, how should I say it? People would sober up from them. Okay, people would sober up from them, um, at the very least, and also they were not really able to do your own mission because they would have to transmute things that you have already transmuted. So what I'm getting is that you begin to reconnect. Now, let's say it was a career environment, or somebody. Let's say somebody said something trying to isolate you in terms of relationships. Okay, and then you see a post on social media that says, "I will never leave you for anybody else. I would only leave you for my peace, for my sanity, for my well-being, and so on." And you innocently share that. And then what I get is the person that tried to give you a name of person that was, you know, opportunist or gold digger or, okay, any of those things, they are at loss because the innocence in which you shared that, relatable meme or whatnot, just anybody that would go into your channel or into your content, they would see, but this person is not at all like what. And and then I got another example, was, let's say, it's to do with work, and a lot of you who are actually making a lot of contribution to reduce corruption, um, to make an authentic contribution in the world, are targeted. And let's say you try to build a bridge from being a targeted individual to even your colleagues. Okay, let's say somebody says, "Oh, you can treat the vagus nerves and so on," and you innocently ask, "What about people who went through ritual abuse and the targeted individuals via MK often and rituals were done on them, or MK Ultra, and they can't always, yes, touch their own body, and so on." And you hear somebody says, "Oh no, oh no," and who is that? Perhaps you were either a healer or a consultant or even astrologer. Um, and those that try to step in your place wanted to isolate you from society. And now that you begin to connect ritual abuse to how do we create, and usually most of you will innocently say, "Okay, how do we create um, a recovery that is actually compatible for people that went through ritual abuse?" But what if your colleagues were part of isolating you and doing ritual abuse? Now, the colleagues and the people that they went to in the field, those of them that are not in it, okay, suddenly see, oh, isn't that the person that a while ago they told us so and so and so and so? Now they say they're going through ritual abuse. They were going through ritual abuse. Wait, was the person that turned to me around to this person and said, I don't know, don't talk to this person unprofessional or whatnot, was the person that turned to me a part of those ritual abuse thingies? Or let's say you to work with reducing corruption, having a meaningful workplace. And you say, okay, for as targeted individual, of course, the things that I would need, that the business would be adaptable, because for those rituals, but also I have to admit, I know I was targeted because I was on this line of work of doing meaningful things and so on. So we need to have this open conversation, because many people are doing those things in favor of the world are being targeted. Now you get to hear an oh no, oh my god, oh no, because the name that they wanted to give for the collective was either of a person who is, I don't know, a charlatan, or that they don't want to work, or that they're lazy, or that they are, a bit cuckoo. And yes, and the what begins to happen is a ripple effect of a conversation, because many people run into that in their housing, in their work environment, and those that were running around targeting individuals, or targeting you, the collective, doing smear campaign and so on, that play the double, and sometimes they would play your ally and behind your back. And so what begins to happen now is that there is a discernment process happening in many communities. First of all, in the world, there's a discernment process. A lot of people see Epstein ring and they're like, what, everyone is in it? Really, everyone is in it? Both the Democrats and the Republicans, and wait a second, what is this Israel thing? Is a death cult? What is going on? Okay, I live in Israel. I just observe the world kind of unfolding, and and then there are people that when a person is targeted, and then many things were done to isolate them, and not have, for them to not have access to resources, and to tarnish the image and so on. And so for you, the collective, what I'm feeling is that the those trajectories begin to have very significant karmas, because what happens is that people begin to see that you're not at all like what they said about you. And not only that, you're up to speed with things that are showing of how you've grown, how you've developed and understood what the terminology and what the practice is, and how you keep finding solutions, and how and this is causing those that behind your back, when you were isolated, they could talk you down. Here's the thing, if they could just shine for themselves, it's like, okay, then now you're also there, and they'll have to deal with that. But if they would not only shine for themselves, but also try to take your energy, or try to tarnish your name, or try to give a false criteria to identify, with these people, while painting you in a certain light that would fit those criteria. And what happens is, the blame shifting. With narcissistic abuse, they do blame shifting. So they learned, when people said the red flags and this, they learned that the terminology, and then they would practice with the same things, but would cause a person to be reactive, and then paint them in negative light. And so many of you became more informed, and now they can't really do to your energy for what, and it's very, very difficult to actually have access to you while people begin to see that, hey, that person is gone through something, and those people, they were putting that person through something. So there is a shifting of alliances. Ascendant close to Rahu, close to the lunar and solar eclipse as we speak. There's a shifting of alliances that begins to form. And your authenticity begins to yield. First of all, you see what people were doing behind your back. They are now having to take the toll. Some of them with mortgages, some of them bought certain things, some of them on the energy of taking from you by torturing, by harassing, by oppressing. And now what happens when you take your energy back? They don't have food. No endochromium, whatever they call that. And when you begin to give your own solutions, they're, how should I say that? They're giving people a little bit tips so that they can make it better, but then maneuvering them in another way is a no-go. Their solutions that come to oppress people, you have discernment. For example, yes, a lot of people talk about, a doula and so and fertility, and this is lovely. And a lot of people were targeted when they began to talk about that. Now think about your housing. Is it compatible for orgasmic birth? Normally, the way to check that is to have a good orgasm, good vocal orgasm. One of the neighbors that I had, they were a couple and they began to be vocal more. After that, they had a baby girl, and the baby girl was very similar to the mother. And then it was found out that the estate was belonging to traffickers that did rituals, which was important because that those neighbors, they had their family with them, but they would need to move to a place where it's not trafficking. So they saw what I was going through, and so this is also important because they understood that they have been living for years in a place where the neighbors were changing, but the first time somebody had the courage to say, hey, those are people that you pay the rent to, they are involved with those things. So for you, the collective, people are stressed because they see that targeting you may have been probably one of the worst decisions they made in their life, not because you're vengeful. And from this is a crisis. Either they will begin to uh, turn the targeting or the anger to the ones that actually um, are, heading those death cults, or they will be subjected to being exposed and people not wanting to associate with their businesses, with their cultures, with their religions. And because those that target individuals and persecute women are becoming what? A persecuted minority.